Much to the delight of fans around the world, Bluey is getting a movie set to premiere in theaters in 2027. This is more than just a new adaptation, it represents the future of the series.
This is beautiful!
But will this new movie reveal the theories we already believe are hidden truths within the show?
Oh no.
Even though Bluey is an Australian show, its biggest fan base is in the United States. Considering it's a Disney show, that's not too surprising. But one thing this movie could bring, and even serve as a gift to fans worldwide, is the possibility of the Heeler family traveling to America. This is very likely because new Bluey episodes exploring places outside of Australia are exactly the kind of stories the series is missing. Of course, we know the creators prefer to keep their country's culture alive, but a movie set in the US could put the Heelers on adventures we've never seen before. For example, in this movie, Bluey could take on the role Jean-Luc had with her, being a tourist in another country, and in the end, saying goodbye to her new friends because she has to return to Australia. We believe Chilli, who works at the airport, might win a trip for the family, or maybe Grandpa Bob travels to America to find himself again, but this time, he brings the whole family along. We'll dive deeper into this possibility in today's video, but until then, get ready because it's time for another Cinewave. You might not know this, but most of Australia is a vast desert called the Outback. One of Bluey's goals is to showcase Australian culture to the world. Since Bandit is an archaeologist, we believe the movie might focus on a potential family trip to this desert where we'll get to see kangaroos, snakes, and all the fantastic animals found in that region. The story could revolve around the famous Dr. Bandit Heeler discovering another super important fossil for dogs, and the whole adventure could be the spark Bingo needs to become an archaeologist like her dad. This could also mean the movie takes place when she's already a teenager, having graduated from school and deciding what to study in college. With this, we could see a grand Crocodile Dundee-style adventure in the middle of the desert with dangerous animals, action, and maybe even an incredible chase scene, of course, keeping the humor that younger audiences love. Could this also mean we'll see something that's never happened in Bluey before? The presence of an antagonist or villain? Maybe it could be a story about the importance of environmental preservation. That's definitely possible because Bluey is also a super educational show. One possibility is that this movie might have a different title beyond just the protagonist's name. It could be called Bluey, Fairy Tale the Movie. The idea would take us back in time to learn more about how Bandit and Chilli truly met as young adults. The movie would have two major storylines. The first showing young Bandit on the night he saw the love of his life for the first time during a summer vacation, unable to forget her for a long time. Meanwhile, this little pup, young Chilli, would be on the other side of town dealing with a family drama, the loss of her mother. We jump to the future, where Bandit is already in college studying archaeology, hanging out with his two brothers at a bar or a party. That's when Bluey's dad spots a girl across the room chatting with her friends, who could be Brandy or Frisky. Let's clarify that Radley goes somewhere else because Bluey's godmother doesn't know he exists yet. Bandit tries to approach Chilli, realizing she's the girl who broke his spell, but she doesn't pay him much attention. What follows would be a romantic comedy where Papa Heeler tells his daughters how he won the heart of his beloved. But could this movie also introduce us to Bosco? Continuing with the theme of travel in the past, one idea that could be part of the movie is a journey based on Bandit's profession. Do you know what a time capsule is? There's a tradition where people bury boxes filled with memories to be opened many years in the future. Now you can see where we're heading. Imagine Bandit suddenly gets a visit from his brothers, telling him it's time for the three of them to return to a place they went as kids because it's time to dig up a mystery box. This would be an adventure where all the Heeler parents and their kids go on a treasure hunt, and believe it or not, there's an episode that hints at this. Remember the episode Fairy Tale where Grandpa Bob is digging in the sand? What if that was a clue that they were burying something important? With the whole family searching for this box, the family drama would intensify. Maybe we'd learn more about Bluey and Bingo's first sibling because, for sure, a time capsule's main purpose is to bring back memories. And on the same trip, the Heeler cousins, Bluey, Bingo, Muffin, Socks, and maybe Frisky and Radley's future child, bury their own memories in a box. The movie could end with an adult Bluey and her child searching for that time capsule. After all, they're dogs, and burying things is a part of canine tradition. Do you like to bury your toys? Comment with #toys so we can go treasure hunting together. Imagine this scene. Bluey and Bingo are playing in the yard when they find a toy under the house that doesn't belong to them. When they go to Chilli to ask whose toy it is, their mom looks sad, takes a deep breath, and says that even though she's tried to avoid this conversation, it's time to tell them it belonged to their first sibling. Let's be clear, this could be a very emotional movie, and maybe Bluey and Bingo would need to be a little older to have such a delicate conversation. The film would focus on both the past and the present, telling the story of how the Heeler parents met and how Chilli got pregnant but sadly lost their first pup. The goal isn't to make it a sad movie, Instead, it would highlight how the birth of Bluey and Bingo became a source of hope for the couple because the loss of that child almost made them lose faith and drift apart. Since Bluey focuses on family and emotions, it would be a beautiful gift to the audience to see the true fruit of the healer's love, their unity. Remember in season 3 when Bandit takes the pups to a cemetery? That's probably where their first sibling is buried. Maybe the show's current audience is still too young to handle this level of emotion, but as time passes and fans grow up, we know Bluey fans are maturing. Maybe now is the time for both Bluey and us to experience this emotional moment and learn about Bandit and Chilli's first child. When you look at Bluey, what do you see? If you're looking at her from behind, you'll definitely see Mickey. And how about a movie set in Disney World in Orlando? Every kid would love to visit Mickey's land. Actually, adults would too. But since our little blue healer is a Disney show, it's about time we watched an adventure where the healer pups go through all kinds of emotions at the theme park castle. Maybe even a trip on their own. Imagine how interesting it would be to see Bingo and Bluey as teenagers visiting America with Jean-Luc, their Canadian friend, joining them since he'd be closer to help the two Aussies. The adventure could be one big game around the Disney parks, featuring princesses and rides, all in canine versions of course. We could have Snow Poodle and the 7 Chihuahuas, the Sleeping Chow Chow, where Maleficent is a cat, or even Elsa, played by a Siberian Husky. Have you thought about a Star Wars adaptation, starring Dog Skywalker? The possibilities are endless! What if they had actually moved away at the end of season 3? We know Bandit spent a lot of time debating whether to accept a job offer, and he did accept it, only to change his mind later. Maybe that uncertainty reflected Joe Brum's own doubts. He's the show's creator. This movie could be an alternate ending where the healers do move away from Brisbane and meet new people. We'd get lots of new characters and a completely different future for Bluey. In fact, the whole story could focus on Bingo and Bluey imagining what their lives would be like if they had sold their house. The movie would be narrated by the two sisters, bringing their fantastical story to life and answering the question, what would happen to the family in this new city? This film would impact the series' canon, giving the creators the freedom to explore stories that can't be told in regular episodes. Another possibility is that this movie could actually be the start of a new series. We know that Bluey and Mackenzie will have a child, and the film could cover the beginning of their teenage romance all the way to their wedding. The movie would focus entirely on their love story, ending with Bluey pregnant and giving birth to her first puppy, whom we affectionately call Roxy here on the channel. Season 4 of Bluey would be the last where she is the main character, and from that point, a new series would begin, focusing on the little pup we see playing with Grandpa Bandit in Surprise. Another birth story that could happen in this movie is the arrival of 2 new babies set to appear in the series. Frisky and Radley's child, and of course, Grandma Brandy's baby, who will definitely be a character in the next season. We believe Bluey will be the godmother of Frisky's child, and a new version of Double Babysitter could kick off the romance between Bluey and Mackenzie. You know what's like the start of a relationship? Subscribing to the channel and hitting the notification bell! We know Stripe and Trixie are going through a rough patch in their marriage. This new theory, which could be one of the movie's storylines, focuses on them. No, the movie wouldn't be entirely about them since it would likely feature many characters. But in this film, which might center around a family trip with the healers, we think Stripe and Trixie would already be separated and Bluey's uncle would be trying to win back his ex-wife's heart. And it wouldn't be a Disney movie without a musical number, right? Imagine how romantic it would be to see Stripe performing a serenade at Trixie's balcony in the film's finale. Of course, everything would turn out fine in the end because we're talking about a show where things always get better for the characters. Mackenzie and Bluey are going to be an international couple because, as you already know, the Border Collie comes from New Zealand. We believe that in this movie, they might focus on a trip where the two of them explore the culture of Australia's neighboring country. And the reason is pretty simple. This would be the perfect excuse to take Bluey to the Lord of the Rings filming locations and have a magical adventure through the movie's landscapes. Last but not least, it's very possible that the Bluey movie will be nominated for, and might even win, the Oscar for Best Animated Feature in 2027. Of course, it'll be up against Sonic 4 and Frozen 3, but it's almost certain that Bluey will be a strong contender for the award. Now, what you can bet on is sticking around the channel. We've got 2 more videos for you to watch. See you in the next one.